It's late Sunday night, and you're lying in bed scrolling through last month's credit card statement. You know, one of those nights. You made a decent paycheck. You didn't do anything crazy. No vacations, no designer bags, no impulse sports car. Maybe dinner out once, maybe twice. A couple of Amazon orders that felt responsible at the time. And somehow, there's a couple $100 left in your checking account, and you have absolutely no idea where the rest of it went. You lock the phone, stare at the ceiling, and you start mentally retracing every purchase like a detective at a crime scene, except you're both the detective and the suspect. Every line item has the same little reply in your head. Well, I needed that. Well, that wasn't much. Well, it was on sale. Sound familiar? Yeah, me too. And look, here's what makes that Sunday night worse. It's what's going on around you. Your neighbor just pulled into a driveway with a car that definitely wasn't there last month. Your old coworker just closed on a condo and posted the keys on Instagram like she tripped over it on the way to yoga. Your college friend keeps posting pictures of a kitchen renovation that cost more than you make in 6 months. And you're lying in bed doing math on a credit card app at midnight, wondering why being a responsible adult doesn't seem to add up to anything. So let me give you something that might make you feel a little better, and then slightly worse. Most of those people aren't actually better with money than you are. They're just leaking money in places you haven't noticed yet. Different leaks, not fewer. And some of those mistakes are so common, so normalized, so baked into what normal adult life looks like, that we've stopped recognizing them as mistakes at all. They don't feel like rip-offs. They feel like responsibilities. They feel like what you're supposed to do. My name is Nicole. I'm the person friends text when a bank statement doesn't add up. And I've been on both sides of that text more times than I'd like to admit. If you've ever earned good money and still felt broke by the end of the month, hit subscribe. Because today, I'm going to walk you through the 10 purchases that are quietly bankrupting you, and most of them feel completely normal. One thing I really want you to sit with before we start. Every one of these was, at some point, the right call. The deal was real. 15 years ago, a gym membership was how you got access to a treadmill, because treadmills cost $3,000 and your apartment was small. 20 years ago, cable was how you watched TV because there was no other way to watch TV. 10 years ago, Airbnb was how you stayed somewhere for $40 when the hotel wanted $200. Times change, business models change. The deal you signed up for, quietly, at some point, stopped being the deal. But our habits don't update. Marketing doesn't update. The default choice stays the default choice long after the math has flipped. So we keep buying things that used to be the deal, and we keep wondering why nothing adds up. Let me paint a picture of what I mean. The people who notice these traps and opt out, they're not smarter than you. They're not more disciplined. They're not earning 60 grand more a year. They're just people who, at some point, looked at a recurring charge and asked, wait, why am I paying for this? And then actually did something about it. 10 of those questions, answered honestly over 5 years, turns into an entirely different life. Those are the people who have a real emergency fund, who can take the job with the lower salary because it's actually what they want, who can fly to their sister's wedding without refreshing the credit card balance on the way to the airport. They don't look special. They just stopped leaking. Here's how I think about it. I call it the Leaky Bucket Effect. Imagine you're trying to fill a bathtub. The faucet is running. That's your paycheck. But there are 10 small holes in the bottom of the tub that you can't see because they're underwater. Each one is tiny. Each one drains just a little bit. But together they drain the tub faster than the faucet can fill it. And here's the cruel part. Every single hole was designed. Somebody in a conference room, somewhere, looked at a chart and asked, how do we make this one easier to miss? And then they tested it until you stop noticing. That's what's happening to your money. Look, you don't have an income problem. You have a drainage problem. Let me put one more face on it. Picture 2 people, roughly the same age, same city, earning roughly the same salary, same grocery store, same Target runs, same rent to the dollar. 2 years from now, one of them has close to 50 grand in savings. The other one has a few thousand and a growing credit card balance. Same job, same paycheck. What happened? What happened is that one of them plugged 10 holes in her bucket. The other one didn't even know the holes existed. She wasn't working harder. She wasn't earning more. She was just paying attention to the things the other one had stopped noticing. Here are those 10 holes. Number 1. Streaming bundles you barely watch. Let's start with the one that feels the smallest and adds up to the most. Okay, I know what you're thinking. Streaming is basically free. It's $10 a service. What's the big deal? Hear me out, because this one has shifted more in the last 3 years than any other item on this list. Streaming used to be the answer to cable. You dropped your $120 cable bill, you picked up Netflix for $10, and you felt like you'd hacked the system. For a while, you had. Then Netflix raised prices, Disney launched Disney Plus, HBO launched Max, every studio decided they needed their own app. And suddenly, the thing that was supposed to replace cable became cable. Same price, same bundles, same yearly hike, same feeling of paying for 100 channels to watch 3. Open your bank statement right now and count. Netflix, Hulu, Max, Disney Plus, Paramount, Apple TV because you signed up for one show 3 years ago and never canceled. The one that came with your phone plan that you couldn't cancel if you tried. Peacock, because there was a football game once. 7 subscriptions, 3 shows you actually watch. You do the math. And it's worse than that, because you don't even watch them. You scroll them. You open Netflix, look at the same 6 thumbnails you've been looking at for a month, close Netflix, open Hulu, do the same thing, close Hulu, and end up watching a YouTube video about sharpening kitchen knives. I see you. I am you. The rest just sit there. You forgot you were paying for them. That's not an exaggeration. Almost half of subscribers say they have at least one service they literally forgot about. Forgot. They're paying for. I had a friend last year actually add it up. 9 services. She was watching 2 of them. She was paying roughly $1,000 a year for access to platforms she hadn't opened in 6 months. When she called to cancel one of them, I'm not kidding, the support rep asked if she wanted the family plan to save 15%. She had to say, I don't want to pay less for it. I want to pay nothing. $1,000 a year. Let me translate. That's a weekend somewhere real. That's a year of decent date nights. That's a quarter of your Roth IRA contribution. That's every birthday and holiday gift for everyone you care about. Run that out 15 years, and that's a fully funded retirement account you just donated to apps you don't open. That's not $10 here and there. That's a whole category of your life, quietly rerouted. The psychological trap here has a specific shape, and it's worth naming. Each service, individually, is cheap enough to not think about. That's the whole mechanism. Every streamer landed on the same under $15 pricing for the same reason. Credit card companies pick $9 minimum payments, small enough to sign up without flinching, small enough to keep paying without flinching. Nothing in your statement ever screams at you. Every charge is wallpaper. So here's the first reframe. Streaming didn't become cable. It became worse than cable, because cable at least came in one bill, where you could see the whole thing. Streaming is cable broken into 12 bills, designed specifically so you can't see the whole thing. And here's the second. The streaming companies know exactly what percentage of subscribers will forget to cancel, and they built the whole pricing model around that number. You're not a subscriber in the old sense. You're a forecast. Here's what to do. Keep 2. Rotate the rest. Subscribe for a month when there's something you actually want to watch, binge it, cancel, move on. Same content, a third of the cost. The streaming companies hate this, which is exactly how you know it works. You're not depriving yourself, you're just paying attention. Number 2, brand name groceries when the store brand is literally identical. Moving on to something you do every week that's priced based on a story that stopped being true 30 years ago. This one gets me, because the math is so obvious and so ignored. There used to be a real case for brand names. 30 years ago, if you bought the store brand, there was a meaningful chance you were getting something actually worse. A different factory, a different formula, Generic really did mean off-label and probably lower quality. That isn't true anymore. A huge chunk of store brand products are now made in the exact same factories as the name brands. Same machines, same ingredients, same shift workers. The product goes down the line, and at the end, a robot slaps on either the Advil bottle or the store brand bottle depending on which pallet it's going to. Chemically identical. The only difference is the label and the markup. You know the one that kills me? Ibuprofen. 200 milligrams of ibuprofen is 200 milligrams of ibuprofen. It is a molecule. It does not know whether you paid $12 for it or $3. Your headache, I promise you, also does not know. For a family of 4, switching to store brands on the staples can save you $300 a month. Not a typo. Real money. $300 a month is $3,600 a year. A fully funded starter emergency fund for buying the white box instead of the blue one. You're not giving up quality. You're giving up a marketing budget. Specifically, you're giving up 30 years of jingles your grandma hummed in the kitchen, which is exactly why you reach for the blue box instead of the white one without thinking about it. That's not a choice. That's a memory. Here's the test. Buy the store brand once. Dump it into the name brand container. Watch your family fail to notice. I mean, does your laundry detergent really need brand loyalty? It's cleaning your socks, not launching a career. Number 3. A new phone every year when last year's is fine. From a choice you make every week to a choice you make once a year. And shouldn't. This one is about a story we tell ourselves. There was a time when a new phone every year actually meant something. 2011 to 2012, the camera went from basically useless to better than your point and shoot. 2014 to 2015, screens went from squinting at maps to watching full movies. The year-over-year upgrade mattered. That stopped being true around 2018. The curve flattened. Every phone since has been a marginal improvement on the one before. But the upgrade cycle, the annual launch, the breathless reviews, the sense that your current phone is somehow embarrassingly out of date. That machinery didn't notice. It just kept running. Every September, the same thing happens. There's an event. Somebody in a black turtleneck walks on stage. They show a slide comparing the new phone to last year's phone. 30% more neural cores. A better night mode. A titanium frame. The word unprecedented appears at least twice. You watch the keynote on the phone they're telling you is obsolete. It's a religious ceremony with a chipset. The story they're selling is that the new phone is dramatically better than the one in your pocket right now. The reality is that a flagship phone and its predecessor are, in real-world use, basically the same device. You will pick it up. You will open Instagram. Instagram will open at the same speed it opened on the old phone. You will not notice the extra neural cores because you are not a neural core. You're a person trying to see if your friend posted the beach pictures. You're paying a massive premium for an improvement you will literally never notice unless you're running benchmarks for fun. Which, hear me out, nobody is. $1,000 every 12 months for a phone that's 5% faster than the one you already own. That's a house down payment, spread out over a decade, for slightly faster selfies. Buy a phone. Keep it for 3 years. When the battery finally dies, replace the battery. Not the phone. It's $80. The phone will feel new again. I'm serious. The my phone is getting slow feeling is almost always a dying battery pretending to be an obsolete processor. Number 4. The gym you don't go to. Speaking of paying for the version of yourself you haven't actually become. Look, y'all, I'm not the guy who's going to tell you to stop exercising. Exercise is great. What I'm going to tell you is that paying $65 a month for a gym you visited in January and haven't been back to since February is not, technically speaking, exercise. And here's the honest bit. Gym memberships used to be one of the only ways to get what a gym offered. 15 years ago, if you wanted a treadmill, a rack of weights, and a room you could sweat in without judgment, you needed a facility. Treadmills were $3,000. A squat rack was $1,000. You didn't have YouTube coaching. You didn't have adjustable dumbbells that fit in a closet. You definitely didn't have free workouts from every trainer on the planet on your phone. The gym made sense because the alternative didn't exist yet. The alternative exists now. The price tag stayed anyway. You know the ritual. December 31st, you sign up. January, you go 4 times and feel incredible. The second week of February, something comes up. A cold, a deadline, a friend's wedding. You miss 1 workout, then 2. Then the guilt of not going becomes bigger than the effort of going. And at that point, it's easier to just not think about the gym at all. And here's the cruel part. You keep paying, every month, for the privilege of being reminded on a faintly greasy credit card statement that you're not the person you promised yourself you'd be. 2/3 of gym memberships go completely unused. Not underused, unused. The person doesn't walk in the building. They're paying rent on a locker room they will never see. A gym membership isn't a subscription. It's a confession you keep renewing, and a lot of them can't stop. I mean that literally. Some of these places make you cancel in person. Some want a certified letter. Some forget your cancellation and bill you for another 3 months before a service rep finally admits defeat. The friction is the business model. They're not selling you fitness. They're selling you a subscription that's inconvenient enough to leave that most people don't. Meanwhile, everything a gym offers, cardiovascular health, strength, flexibility, you can get with a $20 pair of dumbbells, a YouTube channel, and a floor. The floor is free. It has been free for 4.5 billion years. It's not going to start charging. And what is $65 a month actually buying you if you're one of the 2/3? $780 a year. That's 3 months of groceries. That's a set of adjustable dumbbells, a set of resistance bands, and a real yoga mat with 400 left over. That's a flight home to see family for not going to the gym. If you actually go to the gym 4 times a week, keep it. You've earned it. If you don't, cancel. Whatever it takes. Go in person. Write the letter. Sit through the "Are you sure" speech. Your abs are not measured in auto-pay transactions. Number 5. Food delivery fees that cost more than the food. Moving on to something you definitely do use. And that's exactly the problem. This one is where I get a little angry because it's so convenient and so quietly expensive. Food delivery used to be a deal. Pre-pandemic, an app would charge you a couple bucks for convenience and call it a day. Then the industry consolidated. The service fee showed up. The regulatory response fee showed up. The restaurants quietly raised their in-app prices to cover the platform's cut, and now you're paying somewhere between 40 and 80% more for the same burrito. Same app, same bag, different math. A $14 burrito becomes $26 by the time you add the delivery fee, the service fee, the small order fee, which I still don't fully understand, the regulatory response fee, which I am almost certain has nothing to do with any actual regulation, and the tip. Oh, and the menu price on the app is $2 higher than the menu price in the restaurant, because the restaurant is also paying the app a cut and passing it to you. You're being taxed 4 times for one burrito. The food shows up 45 minutes later. It is cold. The bag has sweated through. The guacamole is on the sandwich it was not supposed to be on. The chips are missing. You tip anyway, because the driver didn't build this system. The driver is also getting squeezed by it. Order delivery 3 times a week, and you're easily $2,000 a year in fees alone. Not food. Fees. $2,000. Let me translate. That's a real vacation. That's a year of a sport for your kid. That's $1,000 of real groceries, which means actually cooking something, which you'd maybe enjoy if you hadn't forgotten what your kitchen is for. You're not paying to eat. You're paying for the privilege of not putting on pants. And I get it. Sometimes you don't want to put on pants. Sometimes you've had a day. Your boss yelled at you. Your kid has a fever. Your life is held together with tape. That's exactly what delivery is there for. Order it. Cry into the pad, seat you. That's allowed. What isn't allowed is every Tuesday. Every Tuesday isn't a crisis. Every Tuesday is a habit. and the habit is costing you a small vacation per year in fees nobody can actually explain. Number 6, premium gas in a car that doesn't need it. From expensive food to gas that's expensive for no reason at all. I'm going to keep this one short because it's that simple. Premium gas exists because some engines historically needed it. High compression engines in sports cars and older luxury sedans. That list is very short. Your Camry, your Civic, your CR-V, not on it. Your owner's manual tells you what fuel your car needs. If it says regular, then putting in premium does literally nothing. Zero performance improvement. Zero engine benefit. It's just slightly more expensive gasoline that feels fancier because it sounds fancier. You know the archetype. The uncle who swears his Camry runs smoother on premium. It doesn't. What runs smoother is his feeling about himself at the pump. He has paid for the upgrade, so he experiences the upgrade because the human brain loves a good placebo. $600 a year donated to the oil industry for a feeling. $600, a flight, a month of groceries, your next phone paid in cash. For gasoline that does nothing. Read your owner's manual. It takes 45 seconds. Number 7, subscription boxes you stopped being excited about. From paying for a placebo your body can't feel, to paying for an identity you stopped living. I say this as somebody who has, signed up for more subscription boxes than I'd like to admit. Let me tell you where this industry actually started, because the arc explains a lot. Birchbox came out in 2010 with a genuinely clever idea. Pay $10 a month, get a small curated set of beauty samples, discover new products you'd actually want. For a couple years, the model was novel and fair. Curated surprise, affordable price, genuine discovery. Then every industry in America copied it. The price floated up to $40, $50, sometimes $60 a box. The curation turned into whatever didn't sell last quarter. The novelty wore off. But you kept subscribing because you signed up when you were excited, and nobody reminds you to check in on whether you still are. You sign up when you're excited. The beauty one, the snack one, the mystery book one, the one where a sommelier picks your wine, the one for your dog, because your dog deserves curation too. A cool box of curated stuff, once a month, straight to your door. The first one arrives, and you're like a kid at Christmas. The third one is still fun. The sixth one sits by the door for 3 days before you remember to open it. The 10th one, you forgot it was coming. Look in the corner of your bedroom right now, or your home office, or the top of your dresser. There is, almost certainly, a small stack of unopened boxes. You know what's in them. Nothing urgent, nothing you asked for, little hair serums, a novelty mug, a bag of jerky in a flavor you don't love. You'll open them eventually. The psychological trap here has a specific name, and it's worth saying out loud, because if you can name it, you can escape it. It's called identity preservation. You didn't sign up for the bourbon box because you wanted 11 new bourbons. You signed up because, for a minute, you imagined a version of yourself who tried 11 new bourbons a year. A curious, sophisticated, adventurous version of yourself. And canceling the box doesn't feel like canceling a box. It feels like canceling her. So you don't. You keep paying for her, even though she hasn't opened a bottle since April. I had a coworker do the math on hers last year. 6 active boxes. She had looked forward to one of them in the previous 6 months, which means she was paying, on average, $250 a month to preserve an identity she wasn't actively living. $3,000 a year. To store unopened cardboard in the corner of her guest room. $100 a month for 3 subscription boxes you've lost interest in. Over a year, that's $1,200. A real trip. A year of date nights, or the gift budget for every holiday and birthday you've got coming up. Here's the first reframe. The cancel button isn't failure. It's just honesty. And here's the second. The box industry counts on exactly one thing. Your reluctance to admit you're not the person you thought you were when you signed up. That reluctance is the business. Every unopened box in your corner is money you're spending on a version of yourself you haven't been in months. Number 8. Bottled water when your tap is fine. From something that sits unopened by your front door to something you drink every day without ever thinking about it. Okay, before you close the tab, I know bottled water sounds like the pettiest item on this list. It's not about the $2. It's about what the $2 represents. Hear me out. Bottled water made sense once. It made sense in countries where tap water genuinely wasn't safe. It made sense in the 90s when municipal systems in some US cities had real quality problems. That's not the situation anymore, at least in most of the country. American tap water is among the most tested, most regulated water supplies in the world. It is, according to the actual chemistry, safer than your coffee. And Americans still spend tens of billions of dollars a year on bottled water. Here's a fun exercise. Pick up a bottle of Dasani sometime. Read the small print. It says, from a public water source. That's tap water, in a bottle, with a logo. They took it out of a municipal system, filtered it slightly, poured it into plastic, and sold it back to you for 15 times what it cost to begin with. Same for Aquafina. Same for a lot of them. I did this math for a friend who was buying a case of Fiji water a week. A case was $20. She was going through one a week, $1,000 a year on water. When I showed her the label on one of the bottles, the part about from a deep aquifer on the island of Viti Levu, she looked genuinely hurt. She'd been drinking Viti Levu for 3 years. Nobody had ever told her the thing in her hand was, by weight, more expensive than gasoline. She'd been paying for a small weekly baptism in a plastic bottle, and the priest was a marketing team. A Brita filter is $25. Replacement filters are about $30 a year. That's it. That's the whole system. It tastes the same as the bottled stuff. There have been blind taste tests, and most people literally cannot tell the difference. The ones who can tell, they tend to prefer the tap. And think about what you're actually doing. You're at the gym, you don't trust the water fountain 10 feet from you, but you're fine filling your $5 aluminum bottle from the sink in the locker room, which draws from the exact same pipe. The only thing that changed is the container in your hand. The water didn't know it was being judged. The psychological trap here is called packaging as trust. We've been trained by decades of marketing that stuck plastic bottles on every magazine cover, in every athlete's hand, in every yoga studio, to believe that water with a logo is somehow cleaner than water without one. That training is doing the work, not the water. So here's the first reframe. You're not buying water. Water is already in your apartment. You're buying the container and the logo and the permission to not think about it at 15 times the price. And here's the second. $300 a year for tap water in disguise doesn't sound like much. That's the whole mechanism. Small enough to not notice, steady enough to add up. Every system on this list is structured the same way. Bottled water is just the cleanest example of the pattern. $300 a year for tap water, in a plastic bottle, with a logo, plus a small mountain of plastic, which is its own problem, but we'll save that for a different video. Number 9. Cable TV. You still pay for every month. From the pettiest item on this list to the one that pretends to be essential. Okay, this one I have some feelings about. Cable used to be television. If you wanted to watch a show, that was the pipe. There was no other pipe. You paid your $120 a month because there was, literally, no other way to see what was on. Then, the internet built a parallel pipe. Then Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Twitch, every streaming service on Earth. And the cable bill, despite being thoroughly obsolete as a delivery mechanism, did not go down. It went up. You are now paying for 2 pipes doing the same job, and only the newer pipe actually delivers the water. The average cable bill is around $120 a month, 200 plus channels, and the average subscriber watches 17 out of 200. You're paying for a 200-room mansion and living in the hallway. Open your cable guide right now and scroll. QVC, HSN, the Hallmark Mystery Channel, the Hallmark Drama Channel, the Hallmark Movies Channel, Food Network, Cooking Channel, which is Food Network 2, the Weather Channel, which stopped being about weather somewhere around 2011, 10 shopping networks, 6 home renovation channels, 4 channels about ghosts. All of them are in your lineup. None of them are in your life. You're paying for them, individually, every month, whether you know their names or not. Now, if you watch live sports, I get it. Sports are a real reason to keep cable. But there's a sports-specific streaming package for about $25. Everything else, $90+ a month, is channels you scroll past on your way to ESPN. And here's the part that really burns me. The cable industry is banking on one thing, and one thing only, your inertia. They know you won't cancel, because canceling cable is designed to be harder than filing your taxes. You call. You get an automated menu that asks for your account number 3 times. You finally get a human who doesn't have authorization. You get transferred. You get a retention specialist whose entire job is to wear you down. They offer you a $30 discount that expires in 3 months, which is just kicking the can 3 months down the road. And when you say no, they offer 20. And when you say no again, they put you on hold long enough for you to look at the clock, think about what else you could be doing with a Saturday morning, and start to cave. That's not a glitch in their customer service. That is their customer service. They designed the friction on purpose. They're betting your time feels more expensive than your money. It isn't. Not at $90 a month, $1,100 a year. That's every streaming service you actually use, plus a flight, plus you still have $400 left over. Spend the afternoon, cancel. Number 10, convenience banking fees. From a company that charges you for bad service to a company that charges you for no service at all. This is the one that makes me actually angry, because it's the most predatory item on the list. Banks used to charge fees when holding your money actually cost them something. When branches were physical, tellers were human, and every deposit meant paper, ink, clerks, and vaults. The overhead was real. That's not where your money lives anymore. Your money is a row in a database. The cost of holding it, processing it, and moving it is basically zero. But the fees didn't get smaller. They got creative. Let me walk you through the model. You deposit your paycheck. The bank takes your paycheck and lends it out at, let's say, 7% to somebody buying a car. The bank pays you 0.01%. The bank keeps 6.99. That is the business. That is how every major bank on earth became a major bank. You'd think that would be a pretty good deal for them, and it is. But apparently it's not enough. So on top of that, they charge you for holding your money, for using an ATM, for getting a paper statement, for wiring money to your own account at a different bank, for overdrafting by, like, $6. The average overdraft fee is $35. $35 for spending $3 you didn't have. That's not a fee. That's a small fine for being poor for 30 seconds. And it cascades. One overdraft kicks you into the red. The next charge overdrafts too. That's another $35. Your subscription renews the same day. $35 more. By the time you notice, you've paid $120 in fees on top of $4 of actual money you didn't have. The bank did not warn you. The bank could have simply declined the transactions. It didn't, because it makes more money when you fail. And who eats those fees? Mostly the people who can least afford them. The folks living paycheck to paycheck who miscount by $12 one Thursday and get punished on Friday. Overdraft fees are, functionally, a tax on not having a cushion. 4. $500 a year in fees for the average person with a traditional bank. That's a month of groceries in any city in America. That's your car insurance deductible for letting someone use your money to make themselves richer. Here's the fix, and it's embarrassingly simple. Switch to an online bank. No monthly fees, no minimum balance, ATM fees reimbursed. It takes an afternoon to set up. That's it. That's the whole solution. You shouldn't be paying your bank for the privilege of letting them use your money. That's not banking. That's just backwards. Remember that Sunday night? The phone 2 inches from your face, the credit card statement that didn't make sense? Add these up. Really add them up. Streaming, groceries, phone, gym, delivery, premium gas, subscription boxes, bottled water, cable, banking fees. For a lot of people, we're talking $10,000 a year, give or take. Almost $900 a month, quietly leaving every month while you're convinced you're being responsible with money. That's where the statement went.